everyone. I'm John Kernan. Welcome to RPM Tonight. Later in the program, we'll pay our final respects to Dale Earnhardt with an emotional look back at his racing career. But first, NASCAR officials held a news conference Friday morning at the North Carolina Motor Speedway to discuss last Sunday's fatal crash during the Daytona 500. NASCAR's investigation of the crash revealed that one of the most important safety devices in the car had failed. Marlo Klain has the details.
NASCAR officials announced key information Friday about what might have contributed to Dale Earnhardt's death in his crash at the Daytona 500, a finding they came across when examining the wreckage of Earnhardt's car last Sunday night.
What we have found in investigating Dale Earnhardt's car from the Sunday accident is that there was a broken left lap belt, a seat belt from the left side of the lap belts came apart.
It was separated right in this area between the metal hardware, the two pieces of metal hardware here. So the webbing itself had separated.
We don't know why, we don't know how, we don't know when yet. All we know is that there was a broken belt at this point.
The major impact for Mr. Earnhardt was forward and to the right. Apparently the belt gave way. It allowed his body to move forward and to the right. It appears this did allow his body to move forward, and it appears that probably his chin struck the steering column, and in such a way that the forces were transmitted up the mandible on each side to fracture the base of his skull.
Team owner Richard Childress said the 5-point harness in Earnhardt's car was new as of November 2000 and was the same model he'd used for some time. NASCAR President Mike Helton confirmed that all other parts of the device were intact after the crash. If the lap belt had not broken, Earnhardt's injuries may not have been fatal.
Certainly, no one can say for sure what would have happened. If his restraint system, his belts had held, he would have had a much better chance of survival. Certainly his chest and head shouldn't have made contact with the steering column.
Dr. Bohannon also said that the Hans device, which restrains the head and neck, probably would not have made a difference in this particular crash. One piece of equipment he said that might have a closed face helmet, because that would have spread out the impact throughout the faceplate. Earnhardt was one of a very few drivers still using an open face helmet. One other, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has used both types, but he has not indicated which one he will use here on Sunday. In Rockingham, North Carolina, Marlo Klain, ESPN.
Bill Simpson, the man who founded the company that made the seatbelts in Earnhardt's car, says, having tested and produced seatbelts for the motorsports industry for more than 43 years, we have never seen a seatbelt come apart in the manner that occurred. Our seatbelts, when properly installed, won't fail. Phil Parsons has more than 20 years of experience in racing in various NASCAR divisions, and he joins us now. And Phil, I guess it's important to just show everyone exactly how the 5-point safety harness works.
Well, John, here are your 5 points. You have the 2 shoulder belts, you have the 2 lap belts, and the submarine belt. And this is driver preference as to what order you put them in, but essentially they all go on this bracket here. And then you put this in here and then back over. There's a little piece of Velcro here to hold that thing to make sure it doesn't come loose, and there you have the 5-point harness.
Now, once you get in and get strapped into the car and you got the belts tight, do they stay tight all day?
No, they won't. You do have to tighten them up. As a matter of fact, you'll get in the car to start the race. You'll have 2 or 3 pace laps, and your crew chief or spotter will say, hey, give another tug on your belts. So typically it's the shoulder belts that you'll keep tightening all day long. The lap belts will stay fairly tight, but the shoulder belts you'll grab on before they start the race and then during the caution. Sometimes even while you're racing under green flag conditions, you'll just reach up if you have a long straightaway and just tug on them just to make sure they're tight.
And you feel very secure in there? You don't even hardly move at all, right?
Hardly at all.
Now, the belt in question on Dale Earnhardt's car was the left lap belt on this side. Now, my question is, Phil, there's a slot here where the belt comes through from the mounting bracket. Now, considering the vibration and stuff in the car, is there a possibility there, you know, if there's a slight rough edge, that it could rub up there and actually weaken the belt?
Well, certainly anything's possible, John, but this is a very comparable seat to what I've used my whole career, and I've never seen that happen. I've never even seen a belt that had been marred in any way, so I really would doubt that, but again, anything is possible.
Now, this material, this web material that the belts are made of, about how strong is that?
It's very strong. the technology for these belts came out of Air Force jets. So it's very, very strong. And again, I've never, as Gary Nelson said in a press conference, that he's never heard of that happening in the history of NASCAR, so, and nor have I. So it's extremely, extremely strong material.
Yeah, and you actually in 1983 had a very hard crash at Talladega where you went into the wall pretty much head first and then barrel rolled, but the belts held you, right? And just
Well, they
kept
certainly
you...
did. Yeah. Now they do give you have a little bit of give. I actually broke my shoulder in that wreck, which was undoubtedly due to my left shoulder getting against the door bars, but other than that, I was in pretty good shape.
You know, everybody's been concentrating on the seats, the helmets, now the Hans device. There are so many different safety features out there. Is it the responsibility as a driver to make sure that you use everything you can to be as safe as you can?
Well, I think so. I think you need to look at everything out there. Everything new, you know, comes up today may be better than yesterday. So it's up to us as drivers, and that's where I think NASCAR comes in. I think they do a great job of looking through that kind of thing and analyzing it, and along with a lot of input from the drivers and the manufacturers to see what we can do to make things safer.
But would you feel comfortable with NASCAR saying, hey, you have to wear this type, you have to have this type of seat, you have to have a Hans device? Or is that, as a driver, is that a personal choice?
Well, again, that's hard to say. You know, I would certainly look into the Hans device, and we'll look into the Hans device when I do some more racing. But I'm not sure about, as far as making it mandatory, that I really don't know. But if they do, then they would have done enough testing to warrant it.
All right, Phil, thank you very much for your help. Richard Childress Racing and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated met with the media at the Rock on Friday. RCR revealed its plans for the rest of this season, while Dale Earnhardt Jr. spoke to the media for the first time since the crash. Mike Massaro now joins us from Rockingham. And Mike, a lot of people still find it amazing that Dale Jr. is going to race this weekend.
Yeah, John, it really is pretty amazing. But like Kyle Petty tried to explain after Adam's death, racing is their family's legacy. And for the Earnhardts, racing is not only something they do, but greatly defines who they are. Prior to Sunday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the Earnhardt family future. Today, he represents their present.
We're going to try our best to maintain and carry on with the racing program and try to stick beside Teresa as best we can and help her out in any way she needs. I do want to say that any notion or any idea that or any blame placed upon anyone, whether it be Sterling Marlin or anybody else for that matter, is ridiculous and will not be tolerated. I just think it's completely incredible that some of the things that I've heard or been told about. But one of the things that this really teaches you the most about is how selfish you are about things like this. I mean, I miss my father, and I've cried for him, but out of my own selfish pity is the reason for those emotions. And I just try to maintain a good focus for the future and just remember that he's in a better place that we all want to be. And that's really all I have to say.
For Dale Earnhardt Jr., this weekend will certainly be a test of emotional stamina, and we admire his courage. However, he won't be the only driver underneath the microscope. It was announced today by Richard Childress that Kevin Harvick will take over the seat of the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. The car will be numbered 29 with an inverted paint scheme, white with black lettering. Still, the questions remain, what will happen with the number 3?
I understand there's petitions out there to retire it. Talking with NASCAR, all I can do is say the conversations I've had with them, we're going to put the number 3 in a moratorium for 1 year and not run the number 3 on anything. We will never run a number 3 black Goodwrench car again. We may run a number 3 car again someday. We've got 28 years at RCR invested in it. Junior Johnson made the number 3 famous back in his era. Ray Fox made the number 3 famous. This is a totally different situation. Right now, all I can say about the 3 is NASCAR says that they do not retire numbers, that they would like to see us keep the number, and we plan on keeping the number 3. They're going to work with us to put it in a moratorium. You're supposed to run a number 5 times, but they're going to waiver that. and we'll go forwards, and let's see how this heals and see what happens from this point.
You know, I'd like to say one thing that, you know, Dale Earnhardt was probably the best race car driver there ever is going to be in NASCAR, and nobody will ever replace him, and I think we all know that. So I would hope that you guys don't expect me to replace him, because nobody ever will.
There is no doubt that Kevin Harvick has the talent to be successful in Winston Cup and is physically ready to make the move, but there are some question marks about whether or not he's mentally prepared. During the offseason, there was much speculation that Kevin Harvick would be the successor in the 3-car when Dale Earnhardt stepped aside. However, 2 weeks ago, when it was announced that Kevin Harvick would take over the America Online Chevrolet for 7 races this year and full-time next season, Kevin told me that he was relieved that he wouldn't have to take over after a legend. Today, however, he has no choice. John?
Thank you, Mike. Later on RPM Tonight, we honor Dale Earnhardt's memory with a musical tribute. And when we come back, another one of Earnhardt's milestone victories. Racing career on ESPN Classic. ESPN Classic remembers Dale Earnhardt. Portions of the program will originate live from the North Carolina Motor Speedway. The second Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was almost postponed because of rain. In fact, Dale Earnhardt was in favor at the time of postponing the race from Saturday to Sunday. But the race finally got underway more than 4 hours after the original starting time. And afterwards, Earnhardt was pretty happy with the results.
We got a great race car this year, and it just didn't run that fast in practice or qualifying. Ran pretty good, 13 fastest, but I think the car is a real good race car. I got good feelings about the car.
That's Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace fighting together for the lead. Well, it'll be the lead when it's all over and said and done with.
But Dale is going to pass Rusty with ease down the backstretch.
Rusty Wallace was not up to speed as he came back out of the pits. And Rusty Wallace is gaining. There's no doubt about it. He's gaining on Earnhardt. And Rusty Wallace is just a couple of car lengths, just 2 car lengths behind Dale Earnhardt. And it might be 1.
Wallace closing in on Dale Earnhardt for the lead of the Brickyard 400. They're in turn 2, headed down the backstretch right now. Benny, despite the fact that this is Hoosier land and well north of the Mason-Dixon line, they got a tremendous following for Dale Earnhardt in Indianapolis.
You got that right. Everywhere we go, they got a great following for Dale Earnhardt.
Jerry Punch has a report on Dale Earnhardt.
I just spoke with Richard Childress, the car owner. He said, you know, we've got 2 evenly matched cars, a Chevrolet and a Ford. Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, 2 of the best in the business. It's all going to come down to concentration. He has gone and told everyone in his crew, don't say a word on the radio. No one talk. No one say a word. I want Dale's total concentration on these final laps.
Trying to keep that car just as free as he possibly can as he exits the corner for maximum speed. Watch those people cheer as they go by.
They love Dale Earnhardt. They have their hats off and they're waving to him. And I don't think Earnhardt can be beat, Benny.
You don't think so, huh?
Well, what do you think? I've stuck my neck out.
It doesn't look that way. It looks like he's not going to be able to be passed by either Wallace or Jarrett.
Earnhardt sees Doyle Ford poised in the starter stand with the white flag indicating 1 lap to go. There it is. 2.5 miles to race in the second Brickyard 400. Dale Earnhardt in command of the Brickyard 400 as he enters turn number 3. And now for the final time, they come through corner number 4. Dale Earnhardt enters the straightaway and looks for the checkered flag this time. And he sees it. Dale Earnhardt has won the second Brickyard 400.
I'm glad I'm the second man that won, and if not the first. We really appreciate it. And NASCAR, I guarantee you NASCAR is happy to be here.
More than half of Dale Earnhardt's victories in Winston Cup competition came at these 5 racetracks. He won the most times at Talladega Superspeedway, 10 victories. The closest active driver is Bill Elliott with 2 wins at that track. Talladega was also the site of Dale's last win. When we come back, the racing weekend starts with Busch qualifying at the Rock.
How important is it to get off to a very quick start with the Roush Busch car?
I think it's pretty important, and I feel pretty good. We tested Kentucky, Vegas, here, and Atlanta, and have had good tests everywhere we've been. And really excited about that. We tested really well here,
and it showed today, you know, getting the pole. And I just hope that we can have a good race tomorrow. You know, top 5 in points, or top 5 finish, you know, we're looking for points right now.
How important is it to start out front in this particular track, obviously, because of the tire wear?
I think it's really important, you know, because it's a lot easier letting it back up a little bit, you know, and kind of nestle into a top 10 spot and just kind of let the tires and the pit stops roll out for you versus trying to, you know, work your way from 15th or 20th where there could be trouble back up into the front to where you can kind of do what the leaders did. We got off sync last week at Daytona on pit stops, so we're going to make sure we don't do that this week.
What are you finding the biggest difference between the truck and the Busch car?
Really the downforce. You can really tell just by driving it the amount of downforce it has in the front and the back. The thing is stuck to the racetrack a lot better than the truck. The trucks are really fun to drive, and I miss them already, but the Granger Ford Taurus Busch car is being fun as well.
Congratulations on the pole.
Thank you.
Greg Biffle is on the pole. Of course, he is last year's truck champion.
Thank you, Marlo. Checking out the rest of the top 25 qualifiers at the Rock. Last week's winner at Daytona, Randy LaJoie, grabbed the 15th starting position. He turned a lap at 153.028. Jimmy Johnson starts 17th. And as you look at the rest of the top 25, only 42 cars made qualifying attempts, so nobody goes home. We'll be right back. This weekend, RPM Today and RPM Tonight will cover all the stories surrounding the first race since last Sunday's tragic event. RPM Today comes your way at noon on Sunday, while RPM Tonight airs Sunday night at 6:30 Eastern. Both programs are on ESPN2. A number of the Indy Racing Northern Light Series teams tested today at Homestead Miami Speedway, and it was Sam Hornish Jr. leading the way with a fast lap at 200.134 miles an hour. Buddy Lazier was second fastest, a little over 198. When we come back, we pay our final respects to Dale Earnhardt.
RPM Tonight is a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to rpm.espn.com.
It has been a very difficult and trying week for everyone involved in motorsports. We will all miss Dale Earnhardt, the way he manhandled a race car around the track, and we'll also miss the man we got to know away from the speedway. So please keep the Earnhardt family in your thoughts and prayers over the next several weeks. We'll see you back here Monday night at 7 o'clock Eastern. Good night, everybody.
It's easy to say I wish I didn't know Dale as well as I did, because it probably wouldn't hurt so much, but I wouldn't give up any of the time that we've spent together, because he's obviously given me the opportunity of a lifetime to be successful, and he's taught us all how to be winners, and that's something you just can't replace.
Son and father touch coming down at the line. Oh, man, old man Benny. Wow, what a finish.
I always thought, and still do, he was the very, very best up to date to the year 2001 that ever sat behind the wheel of a race car.
We will never run a number 3 black Goodwrench car again.
I've cried for him, but out of my own selfish pity is the reason for those emotions, and I just try to maintain a good focus for the future, and just remember that he's in a better place that we all want to be.
take his 10th career victory at Talladega.
I know there are millions of fans out there that have lost a hero, but I've lost a very close friend.
I'm heartbroken about what happened to Dale. I can't cry any more tears. I've been heartbroken.
We have lost the greatest stock car racer ever. I lost a friend that I love dearly who changed my life, and that hurts.